Hey everyone, welcome back to the Virtual Investor here. Michael and I have quite a few different things to go over here today, but we're going to start with a property in Ladysmith, Wisconsin that we're going to be closing on here shortly. Mike, why don't you hit details about this one?
Yeah, so again, this is a deal review video. So today we're going to cover one that we won recently at an online bank REO auction. And this property is in Wisconsin, Ladysmith, Wisconsin. Let's go through some photos here. It's pending with us, right? It's we haven't purchased it yet. I'm planning on to the next week, but you got more of a rural property, 3 garages, about 1,700 square feet, if I recall. Oh, there it is right here, 4 bedrooms and a few baths. And again, livable, it's just dated, right? So your end buyer for us, we would prefer a non-investor here, someone just as a retail buyer to walk in and kind of start fresh on how they want to paint and design this place. But livable day one, essentially. And a lot of storage, obviously, with the garages there. So that's the property. We're looking at a comparable comp that we found in the area. This was one of them. Again, talking to the agent, this is a house that, after someone maybe did paint and flooring, you'll probably get around, I think it was 144. That's one of the comps that we saw. Again,
Similar. And
I misspoke. This one doesn't need paint and flooring. Like, this is a comparable as is comp to our property. Sorry about that. Yep. I was thinking ARV, but no, this is like, what can we relist it?
Right.
Exactly, relisted as is on the MLS. And this is a great example comp that we found, and a local agent, their independent analysis provided as well. So it made us feel better about our numbers. And then again, this small town, obviously around the river, initial view based on just square footage, comps were limited. And that's why you have to go out to an agent, find more stuff. A lot of times you move boundaries, you go out a little bit further and maybe encounter the whole town, so it's just so small, and you start seeing higher values out there. And obviously certain MLSs will have more data than a Zillow will sometimes. So those are the benefits of reaching out and working with a local agent. Now, going back to the property, our exit strategy is going to be buy and resell as is, and we'll show you some initial analysis. So renovations times 0 is pretty much none. We always budget a few thousand for something small, miscellaneous to pop up, turning on the utilities and other things like that. But for the most part, we're not looking to pick up a hammer here. And funding for this one of our private lenders that is coming off another deal with us is decided to fund this one as well. So we have a private lender looking to fund this property with their own funds. They earn a percentage a lot better than you get in a savings account or a CD, essentially. And then pivot to what we think the results will look like. We're conservative. As you saw there, Paul, I showed that property that we showed was a $140,000 comp. We kind of said, like, hey, what if this is worse than we think? We shaved it down a little bit and ran it kind of like, we look at things in guardrails. This is the floor, right? 140 would be the high water mark, 125 would be the floor. And talking to the local agent, he was in the mid 130s, if I recall correctly, from an as-is value, just under that 140 mark. But we want to look at it on a conservative view. Again, we have a 5-month hold period for conservatism. You buy, list it out, sits on the MLS for 2 months, and then a conventional loan buyer comes in, and it takes 2 months to close. So that's kind of our holding cost period. This one actually did have a buyer's premium in it, so it's at 5% with a floor of $2,500 on this auction site. And then we decided, our max bid is at 85. I think we actually wanted at 83, if I recall correctly. And then you factor in some of these numbers at below ARV, or as is value, I should say, of this property. We were okay with a 21% return or $20K return on our money. Hopefully it's a little bit higher based on, hopefully agents right, and based on that other comp. And then obviously your numbers are in the 30s then real quickly. So this is a deal that we close on soon. And, we think it's a good traditional wholesale where it's a livable property. Someone can move in there right away and get a property for a great deal and paint it up and, fix it up to their liking. Anything to add there, Paul?
Yeah, and this property, in all likelihood, it's in a rural area. With all those garages, it's likely to be somebody who runs their own business, potentially a HVAC business, contractor, where they have lots of garages to do. So with those extra bonus garages, it's probably going to make it more in demand than your typical regular one. Like that comp you showed at 140 just had that one little tiny 1-bay garage.
Yeah.
And this got a big 3-bay. So this is going to be a very desirable one. We're going to price it right to move it pretty quickly. And I do agree, Mike. I think our number is going to be higher than 125, so we should be good, but just be conservative. And again, if we do it in a couple of months instead of 5 months, it's going to make our number increase as far as holding costs being reduced as well. So I think overall, it's in really good shape with this one. Yeah.
And the other thing they'll add is, like we do with our other properties, we'll do a recording after, it closes and kind of like compare what we thought would happen and what actually did happen.
Yeah. And we generally don't do much of anything in these properties other than if we can get a cleaner in there and clean it. And like Mike was saying before, sometimes you find out it needs a hot water heater and maybe you replace a hot water heater or just something goofy, right? Some minor touch up of something. And that's all we're looking to do. And most of these properties, those are our target type properties.
Yep. All right, let's move to the next one. And this one's in Mississippi, Boonville, Mississippi. So we can quickly go to those. This is what the property looks like.
Again, in good shape on the outside too, and in the inside.
Yeah. And then the inside. I mean, it's pretty livable. Yeah. I mean, newer kitchen, someone updated this in the last few years, basically. And unfortunately,
more ideal one for us. We love these where you don't really have to do much of anything other than get a cleaner. And I mean, look at this bathroom. It's as clean as day. So just get a base cleaning in, make sure our landscaping looks good, and it's, throw it on the market. And you're going to find an end buyer there.
Exactly. And this is just a wide comp area. I didn't narrow it down real quick. And Mississippi's a non-disclosure state, but you could click in here and you can kind of start drilling through what do you think properties did sell for. This one's not exactly a comp, but 225 here. So there are values here. The comp that the agent identified as a good one for us is this one here. Again, this is actually more dated.
For sure.
And we're using this as our number because our property is more recently updated. So this is almost like a floor comp. It's got great exterior looking. And it's a mix of dated and recent updates on the interior. So we're using this kind of like as a floor as is value type of comp, given it's a more spread out area. And get into the actual numbers in a second. But again, to recap what we talked so far through the pictures, the acquisition is through an online bank, REO auction. Funding, again, Paul, I can't remember on this one, is this a private lender or an asset-based lender on this one?
This one should be a private lender again as well on this one.
So it's another private lender that we utilize, someone looking to make more on a deal than 5% CD or for something in their high yield savings account. Renovations, you just saw the pictures. We're not anticipating anything, maybe just a deep clean out, hopefully. If the surprise does pop up like a hot water heater, that'll be a few $100. And again, we use local agents to verify our comps, our analysis, and get better feedback. Agent actually visited the property and they thought as is standing, if you just slap it on the MLS today, it'd be $135,000. And given it's already nicely updated, top end of that curve there after repair value, I don't know what repairs we'd have to make is 160, essentially. So that's those are numbers that made us feel good. I was ultra conservative here. I found a 110 comp that was, again, a mix of updates and slightly dated, but hey, I'd rather be conservative than aggressive in this market. And worst case scenario, this sells for 110. We said max bid of 72. Again, there was a buyer's premium on the property, but worst case scenario, knock on wood, we're hoping to make a 25% return on our money in just a few months, which is a 21K almost net profit to us. Obviously, based on realtor feedback, this number could be 20K higher and it could be a 40K return potentially. But I'll stick with the conservative approach and be surprised later.
Yeah, as you can see, Michael and I, we use the lower numbers to be conservative just to make sure, because you want to always assume worst case scenario on these properties. What could go wrong? What bad things could happen? Something could arise, right? So if you're below what they have, you're in great shape, and any of those surprises, they're going away, which is great.
Just think worst case, not even worse. Just one scenario is agent was 10K off. It sells for 125. Add 15K to this number, we net 35 right there. So range we're obviously comfortable in a quick buy and no renovation and resale value real quickly.
Yeah, and you think about it from a typical regular wholesaling where people are doing an assignment and they're looking for 10 to 15K, right? That's kind of their baseline looking for here. And for us, what we do, since we're taking these things down, we're looking for that 20K, as you can see here on both these deals. Those are kind of our minimum thresholds there, and these things both
on a purchase neighborhood.
Exactly. Yeah. So these should both do better than we anticipate. At least that's what we're hoping here. But worst case scenario, we're still doing solid, because we're using 5-month hold times here. One of the things that we could run into in some of these markets, if people use FHA financing, we have that 90-day anti-flip it. Then wait for the offers to come in, and then they just write them up at that point where that 90 days is expired, and then you can turn around and move them. And then so that's the 5 month that you got built in there, Mike.
Yeah.
But if we go conventional on this, we sell this thing in a month. Again, we don't even if it goes for that lower number you have here, 110, we're probably sitting at 25,000 profit. Because we had much further costs. So it's one of those things that we hope we move it quick. There's not a whole lot on these like available properties in either of these markets, which is good. The demand is pretty good. And to go back to that real quick, to give you a quick update, Michael, on one in Charlestown, West Virginia, it's listed as coming soon. We already have offers on the property and with escalation clauses. So when you have properties that don't have a whole lot of, there's not a whole lot of other inventory here, you have limited supply, these things tend to go, especially when you price them well, right? If we price them right, like we're planning on doing here, we should be able to get multiple offers, and they should move pretty quickly.
And it's a beauty for us doing this nationally, right? We're not handcuffed to a certain state where they are seeing rising inventory and prices falling, right? These are states that all over the place here, where we're very far from where we live. But as you said, the supply and demand curve still makes sense. These things will go on the market pretty quickly given the low inventory.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, we are in these markets where there's not a whole lot of other investors in these markets working. It's more rural. We're in the secondary, tertiary markets. And there's great opportunity there for people looking to buy in REO auctions. There's great opportunity for people looking to lend on these properties and make a good return for a period of time here. Like Mike said, rather than sitting in a savings account earning a few percent or a couple of percent, you can go here and earn 7-10% and earn quite a bit more with pretty reduced risk. Yeah.
Or if you're an investor who doesn't have the deal flow we do and has the money, right? That's another opportunity to put that money to use.
Times as well, the investors who want not enough deal, lend, I'll make some money on my money.
Yep. Got better than earning a few basis points.
You got that right. All right, these were great little deals here. Anybody's interested in these deals or deals like this, make sure you comment, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you want to see here. If anybody's interested in finding out more about like lending opportunities on different properties, just reach out to us hit us directly, and we will reach out to you and connect with you. Until then, we'll catch you on the next